Hey, good to see you. Thanks for coming. This is another episode of Wireframe brought to you by Design Systems House. I'm your host, Andy Amato, and today we're going to be talking about a 75% tech layoff. That's right, 75% of the engineering team, which is probably the majority of this team given what, uh, I guess, industry that they're in, had a layoff 24 hours ago. Literally just found out about it about 3 hours ago, but it did happen less than 24 hours ago. And it happened, or I guess it should say, it was announced in a kind of a weird way. And the way that was announced was actually in a comment in a issue on GitHub. Okay, so let me break this down a little bit. Um, this was posted in a Tailwind channel that I'm following somewhere, and immediately I'm looking at it. Boom, and the thread, which I'll get to in a minute, is showing this ask to add an LLMs.txt to the Tailwind docs, right? And initially, Adam, who is the owner and founder of Tailwind, had some pushback about it because of some reasons. Um, well, since the original post, people were kind of like confused about why would you push back. Well, he responded yesterday, and I'm going to read the response because it is something to read here. Let's look. So the response from Adam. I totally see the value of in this feature and would like to find a way to add it. This is again the LLMS text, for AI optimization. But here he goes. He says, but the reality is that 75% of the people on our engineering team lost their jobs here yesterday because of the brutal impact AI has on our business. And every second I spend trying to do fun, free things for the community like this is a second I'm not spending trying to turn this business around and make sure people who are still here getting paychecks every month. Okay. Now, shocking, admittedly. I mean, this isn't the place that I'm expecting to see this sort of information. But why it happened is the most interesting thing about it. And this is in the second paragraph. So let's read that. Traffic to our docks is down about 40% from early 2023, despite Tailwind being more popular than ever. The docks are the only way people find out about our commercial products, and without customers, we can't afford to maintain the framework. I really want to figure out a way to offer LLM optimized docs that don't make a situation even worse, but I can't prioritize it right now, unfortunately, and I'm nervous to offer them without solving that problem first. Okay, so let me say that again, just to reiterate. The reason why Adam had to lay off 75% of the team, the engineering team over there, is because traffic isn't going to their docks. More specifically, people aren't visiting the Tailwind website. And the Tailwind website is where they're able to do upselling of their products. There's a Tailwind Plus package that has like a UI kit and templates and things that you could buy for individuals. I think it's like a couple hundred. For teams, I think it's about 1,000. So those products aren't being exposed to people as people would normally visit tailwindcss.com to see, oh, there's stuff that's already pre-built for me. I just have to pay for it. And for teams that have the funds to do that, I mean, it would make sense. That's where money can come in. But if no one visits the docs, then there's no one who's seeing the upsell, and they're not getting paid, right? So it's a really interesting problem where we right now, and I'm sure people are thinking about it, don't have ads in our chats, right? Thank goodness, right? Thank goodness that's the only place we have sacred at the moment. And granted, I'm sure that they're going to find ways to shove that stuff in there. Um, but it's very interesting where the business is suffering by providing a service to make it easier for people to use, Tailwind, right? And I think it's a very interesting problem that some, people need to solve moving into the AI world where everything is focused in this chat interface, right? There's no ads in it right now. So how are you going to make a profit when you are serving, this information, this data to people, and you're trying to upsell. Like one of the things that I was thinking about, I have my own MCP, where maybe if you ask about Mise-en Mode, one of the things it might prioritize is, hey, there's a book you can buy, right? And it's just a link to the mode.place website, and you can consider buying the book over there. Maybe that's good enough, right? I'm certainly not advocating for a full-blown ad to be put in there, especially, um, for the bad tactics, the deceptive patterns that have come to surround ads. I wouldn't like that in the first at all, right? But ultimately, there's legitimate business here, right? I mean, we talked about Tailwind, Matt and I, on Monday. It was interesting that this news came up today, or I should say yesterday, about Tailwind and how it suffered quite significantly. But it's very interesting, like, what's the play, right? And we talked about this actually yesterday on the show, the Pin GPT show, talking about how OpenAI might buy Pinterest and why that might be, and that there's some e-commerce in there, right? There's some shopping in there about how could you potentially shop right there in the chat window. So certainly we need to rethink about this stuff, right? I think actually one of the folks in there suggested this protocol, which is called X402. And 402 is an HTTP status code, which basically responds with payment needed. Basically saying if you request and you haven't paid, then you don't get anything. It's very interesting in terms of doing that, but it still requires like payment. But I guess the other thing too is it's like, where's the money going, right? Is it going to OpenAI in your chatbot, or is it going actually to Tailwind? Is there a cut? How do you show that transparently? There's a lot of questions that are in there, certainly. But I definitely feel for Adam in this particular case, right? I mean, he's had traffic go to the site for people to use Tailwind. Granted, I've been very critical about Tailwind's docs over the years because I tried to build a Tailwind plugin and the docs did not help me one bit. I had to vibe code it. I had to. There was no other way from when I was trying to build the plugin, right? So for actually using Tailwind, sure, the docs are there, and then you can see the upsells. But it's very interesting if people aren't visiting websites directly anymore. What do you do, right? And another thing I'm thinking about is RSS feeds. I have an RSS feed. I have actually a few RSS feeds that I manage, and there's something really interesting about RSS feeds because when you're trying to read an article and you have all these ads on the website, you're like, oh, I just wish I could just read the article. Well, that's what RSS really kind of does for you. Is like it's just the article. All of the noise is out of there, so you could focus on what you're doing. So, RSS doesn't really have the ability to like necessarily upsell, right? Embedded internally of it. All it really has is here's the content. So I think people who are content creating, right, or even just have potential products that have a pipeline of content creation, will have to consider some way of upselling inside of the content creation. Again, trying not to be slimy about it, right? Just reminding people in place, in context of what we're talking about, hey, there's this thing that could help you. Maybe you would like to purchase it, right? Kind of like, again, it's like an in passing thing. It's like the idea of having like a door to door salesman versus you being in a place that's looking for this information, right? Because a door to door salesman, you're not ready for that information, right? They knock at the door, you're in your pajamas, you're not ready to accept whatever the heck they're trying to sell. But when you are ready, you're dressed, you have a mindset, you're ready to go ahead and try something new or buy something that's going to solve your problem, you're going to seek it out, right? And you're going to try to find the right place to find that stuff. So, I think that's kind of a little bit of the key, right? Is to meet people when they're ready to purchase this stuff and not shove it down people's throats, right? I think that's the thing that we have to balance in all of this. But I think this is absolutely fascinating in terms of a case study about this, AI and people losing their jobs, and what kind of considerations we need to make in order to change this. Now, I'm gonna let me know what you think in the comments, obviously, but I'm going to change some gears a little bit because I've been thinking about the show. I've been thinking about how we can elevate the show. So what I want to do is I want to add some segments into the show. And one of the segments I normally do is I talk to AI, and I didn't talk to AI today, but that's okay. But I want to add a couple of, like, let's call them games that I could play here on the show, and you can, I guess, enjoy me fumble around on the game potentially. There are two games that I already have lined up, but I'm going to play one of those games right now. One of those games is for a random design prompt to appear and for me to talk over what my thinking is about that prompt. So I'm going to pull up the prompt here, and we can, or I will, have a discussion about what I'm thinking about it. I'm going to actually reload this because it's not exactly, there we go. Actually, I don't even know what that is. Moving around. Okay. Okay, here we go. So let's try it. I'm going to hit this button here. Oh, I need to also hit this button here. Okay. All right. Does that work? Yes. Okay, that's great. All right. Still working out the bugs on there, but ultimately you should be able to see down below. I have basically a prompt generating page, which you could go to. It's at wireframe.ds/challenge, and this generates design prompts that we can talk about. So every time you visit the page, it does show something random. So in fact, if I hit F5, yeah, it'll give me a new one up there. And still working out the placement for the actual video there, but I think it's working out pretty nicely so far. But ultimately, what I like to do is just have like a little section where we put up a design prompt, and I talk about how I would approach this prompt. And if there's something in there again that I don't know about, then I'm just going to refresh and see, something different. But I think this one's good over here. So the prompt that it's given me so far right now is make an immersive ad for a zoo in Australia. So here, the prompt there, if I'm thinking about an immersive ad, that's the ad kind of being around you. So we're assuming that the zoo is something that you want people to come to, right? So in Australia, you're going to want the exotic animals, right? So you're going to want the koalas and the kangaroos and all the other, kind of unique animals to the region to be highlighted there, things you've never seen before, right? So I think that an immersive ad, coming from a sculpture background, I would like to see effectively models, or even better than that, maybe even like sort of like robots of these animals, so that you don't have to, of course, feed them or take care of them in the same way as the real animals are, and they could be more evergreen than again the living creatures would be. So I would, if there was unlimited budget here, I would absolutely try to get some robotic animals in there, right, to make it interesting in terms of, again, immersive. If we got to bring down the cost a little bit, I would consider, again, I think motion is really important when it comes to that, because that's the stuff that really catches the eye. So I would think about like projection mapping, where maybe we could just have animal sculptures and then projection map onto the sculpture so that it looks like it's an alive, right? So you could have like the koala with its hands close to its mouth and it's like chewing, right? So that gives you a little something, right? And you could have kids touch the things because it's not going to hurt them. It's just it would be like some sort of hard material, so it wouldn't be so it would be durable, So I would consider that kind of stuff, and the difficult thing about, I guess, the immersive ad there, of course, is that I'm talking about it being an in-person thing. So you're, immersive. It's you're in space. So I kind of wonder, is there a world, how can we push the limits of this if you're sitting at your house, right? What does that immersive ad look like? I mean, if the immersive ad is like, you visiting a website, and the website is the advertisement for you to visit the Australian Zoo, then I would consider maybe like sounds, right? Sounds makes it immersive. I would consider something like if it's on your mobile device, something that allows you to like do an AR kind of thing, right? Where you could like put your phone up to the place where you're in and see animals walking around the place that you're in. Like you could see koalas on telephone poles and things like that. I think I would be really interesting. So that's what I'm thinking. I think overall, when we're again talking about immersive, we're talking for me. It makes me think of like all my senses and having all those senses highlighted um, in the space, but also being creative about it if you can, right? With the technology that we have today, because we got a lot of technology. Speaking of technology, plan on having another wireframe tomorrow, where we're going to talk a little bit about CES. So stay tuned for that if you're interested in CES. But yeah, I think that should cover the immersive zoo Australia situation. So that was cool. Hopefully that was fun or interesting to you. But if you have an idea for an immersive ad for a zoo in Australia, you can let me know. Put them in the comments. I think that would be interesting. But yeah, I think that's going to be our show for today. So thank you so much for watching. Before you go, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button to get notified when we go live. And feel free to join the conversation on our official Discord at discord.ds.house. Um, and just get involved in there. That would be nice. Play nice there in the comments, and I'll see you on the internet. Bye.